Okay. I'd like to note that Mark Rogatz is attending via video conference from the Office of Expedia at 325 Duffy Avenue in Hicksville, New York, and request a motion and a second to call to order the March 6, 2014 meeting of the Sunny May Mortgage Insurance Committee. The motion and second recorded will be used for all action items before the committee unless specific items call for a different vote or unless any committee member wishes to record his or her vote differently. And I have a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
And a second. The minutes of the meeting of the Mortgage Insurance Committee held on January 29, 2014 shall be deemed approved absent corrections from the directors.
We'll move to the program action items. The item number 2 is a resolution approving 50% mortgage insurance on a $9.2 million HDC permanent first mortgage loan for Plaza Borriquin on East 137th Street, East 138th Street, and East 139th Street in the Bronx. Mike, give us a little more background if you can.
Yes, this comprises acquisition and rehab of 88 low-income units. There's a section, project-based Section 8 HAP contract covering 66 of the units, and rents on the remaining 21 units, there's one supers unit, will be affordable at up to 60% of the AMI. There's also $7.8 million in federal low-income housing tax credits. And the development entity, NHP Foundation, is a very experienced developer of not-for-profit housing. The loan amount is $105,000 per unit, which equals 37% of the project's total development cost, $285,000 a unit. And the project would break even with a pro forma 11% vacancy rate or an 11% increase in pro forma maintenance and operating expenses.
Any questions, comments? No? Yeah, this is a good project. I had the experienced developer, and so we got it. We're fine. All right, hearing no other questions? Yeah.
The resolution before the committee is for approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Plaza Borriquin, 406 to 423, 465 to 475 East 137th Street, 473 to 491 East 138th Street, 470 to 484 East 139th Street, Bronx County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Our next item, item number 3, is a resolution recommending the approval of 100% mortgage insurance on a 7.5 CPC permanent first mortgage loan for 58 Portion Road in Lake Ronkonkoma in Suffolk County.
This comprises construction of 59 low-income units, and of the 59 units, 30 of them will be supportive units that are reserved for clients of the New York State Office of Mental Health. These clients will pay SSI level rents, and the Office of Mental Health will subsidize the rents up to tax credit rent levels. In addition, OMH will contract with the borrower to pay 100% of the debt service for the full 30 years of the mortgage. And there will be a provision in the agreement that if the borrower fails to make 2 debt service payments, OMH will pay debt service directly to CPC. The development entity here, Concern for Independent Living, is an experienced and well-regarded provider of supportive housing services, mostly on Long Island and in Brooklyn. And this will be the 6th loan that we have insured on projects owned by Concern, with inclusive of this loan, with an aggregate loan amount of $53 million. And we have a total book of business of about $2.6 billion. So this is a relatively modest, it's about 2% of our total exposure.
Is all of the Concern past projects all Long Island based?
They're in either Long Island or Brooklyn. They have one on Bergen Street in Brooklyn, one on Rochester Avenue in Brooklyn, and the remainder are in Patchogue, Riverhead, and Iceland.
So in terms of all the 6 deals that we've done within this, is still within the range of any acceptable limits of project
It
risk
is.
in terms of any one operator? Tony, Moses, any questions, comments?
I've
Marge?
commented I've commented every time that they've come forward because I know this agency very well, and they're doing a job that needs to be done, and they do it extremely effectively, efficiently, and in every way. They reflect well on what we do.
Great. Good. No other comments or questions? Laura?
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for 58 Portion Road, Lakeland, Concoma, Suffolk County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
The next item, item number 4, is a resolution approving 75% mortgage insurance on a $3.2 million CPC permanent first mortgage loan for Lionheart Residences of Cohoes on William Street, Manor Avenue in Cohoes in Albany County. Mike?
Okay. There are 3 loans on the agenda this morning, all of which are relatively similar. All have low-income housing tax credits awarded by HCR, and all financed in part by OPWDD. This project comprises construction of 72 low-income units, and of the 72 units, 15 units will be reserved for clients of OPWDD, and the remainder will be affordable to tenants with incomes between 50 and 60% of the Albany AMI. The developers, the Reagan brothers, are experienced developers of low-income housing. And they are repeat HFA, CPC, and Sunny Mae borrowers. And this will be the 12th loan that we've insured for entities owned or controlled by the Reagan brothers, but with a total exposure of only $23 million. So they're relatively small loans. And in this case, the project is receiving debt service subsidy from OPWDD, which will pay approximately half of the total debt service on the project. Project, in addition to the insured first mortgage, has a housing trust fund, $2.4 million housing trust fund, second mortgage, and $10.7 million in tax credits.
Reagan Brothers more Westchester based, I thought? Or
Hudson Valley.
Hudson Valley?
Yeah.
So the Albany area is not that far.
No. We've insured loans on Wurtsboro, Fishkill, Monticello, Newburgh, Yonkers.
Tony, Moses, everything fine? Fine. Darrell?
The resolution before the committee is for approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Lionheart Residences of Cohoes, William Street and Manor Avenue, Cohoes, Albany County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item number 5 is a resolution approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $2.1 million CPC permanent first mortgage loan for Independence Square, 11 Washington Terrace in Newburgh in Orange County.
This is similar in structure to the previous credit. It involves construction of 74 low-income units with tax credits from HCR. Of the 74 units, 14 will be reserved for OPWDD clients, and the remainder affordable between 30 and 60% of the AMI. The developer is Jonah Mandelbaum, who is another repeat CPC and Sunny Mae borrower. And this will be the 12th loan that we've insured for entities controlled by Mandelbaum with an aggregate loan amount of $22 million. So they're relatively small loans. And as with the preceding credit, on this project, OPWDD will pay approximately 75% of the debt service and will also pay the difference between SSI rents and low-income housing tax credit rents for the 14 OPWDD units.
So very similar in structure to the Cohoes project, and
Yes.
experienced developer.
Yes.
Yeah, good project. Marge, Darrell, Moses, Tony, everybody good? Good?
The resolution before the committee is approving mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Independence Square, 11 Washington Terrace, Newburgh, Orange County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried.
Item number 6, resolution approving 75% mortgage insurance on a $3.1 million CPC permanent first mortgage loan for Woodrow Wilson Apartments on 141 Woodrow Road in Amsterdam in Montgomery County. Mike?
This is a Mitchell-Lama project, and it is one of the mortgages that HFA acquired from the Empire State Development Corporation. It's a heavily subsidized project. In addition to the $3,150,000 CPC mortgage, there's a $5.4 million HFA second mortgage and a $2 million housing trust fund loan, and an additional $7.9 million in low-income housing tax credits. The development entity is Omni Development Company of Albany, which is not affiliated with Omni in the New York-based Omni. The loan amount is only $31,000 per unit, which equals 14% of the project's total development cost of $230,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a pro forma 12% vacancy rate or a 12% increase in operating and maintenance costs. And there's a Section 8, project-based Section 8 HAP contract covering 93 of the units.
I just would like to comment that it's nice to see a 4-bedroom apartment every once in a while. For the larger family.
Also nice to see something in Montgomery County. I don't see that
Yeah, we know.
come up too often.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Moses, we took over a large Mitchell-Lama portfolio from the Empire State Development Corporation not too long ago, and so now we're trying to get these projects repaired in many instances and do a better job of keeping them in the housing stock, so you'll hear that more often. So, any questions, comments? No, hearing none?
The resolution before the committee is for approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Woodrow Wilson Apartments, 141 Woodrow Road, Amsterdam, Montgomery County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Motion is carried.
Item number 7 is a resolution, excuse me, approving 100% mortgage insurance on a $3.5 million JP Morgan Chase permanent first mortgage loan for Whipple Apartments on Whipple Street in Brooklyn. Mike?
This is another OPWDD finance project with HCR tax credits. There are 51 low-income units, of which 8 will be reserved for developmentally disabled adults. The developer is Martin Dunn, who's an experienced developer of both low-income and supportive housing projects. And this will be the 6th loan that we've insured for entities controlled by Dunn, but with an aggregate loan amount of only $13 million, so they're small projects. The insured loan amount is $69,000 per unit, which equals 23% of the project's total development cost of $296,000 per unit. And the project would break even with a pro forma 12% vacancy rate or an 11% increase in maintenance and operating expenses. And once again, there's OPWDD debt service and rent subsidy in the aggregate amount of $97,000 per annum. And total debt service on the project is $236,000 per annum.
What a Brooklyn is this in, Darrell?
Williamsburg.
Williamsburg.
Right on.
Mike, the deferred developer fees are on all these projects evenly or all over the ballpark. How is that determined, or what range are the developer fees typically in?
The total developer fee is usually not greater than 15% of the total development cost. In this one, it's appreciably less than the total development cost, which is why I think so little of it is being deferred.
Questions, comments? No? Marge, you're okay too? Okay.
The resolution before the committee is for approval of mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Whipple Apartments, 7 Whipple Street, Brooklyn, Kings County. Assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried.
Our last resolution is recommending the approval of an increase in mortgage insurance on the HFA permanent first mortgage loan for Wincorum Commons at Route 112 in Coram, Suffolk County, from $6.8 million to $7.48 million. Mike?
This is a loan that was approved at the January meeting of the Mortgage Insurance Committee, and it's back because with the increased loan amount, it now exceeds $7 million, which requires approval by the board as a whole. Interest rates have declined since this was originally underwritten. It was underwritten in January at 6.7%, and the current interest rate is 6%. So even with the increase from 6.8 to 7.5 million, the income to expense ratio declines only from 1.1 to 1.08, in excess of the required income to expense ratio of 1.05.
Questions from the...
The resolution before the committee is recommending approval of modifications to mortgage insurance and a commitment for the provision thereof for Wincorum Commons, 3700 Route 112, Coram, Suffolk County. Assuming the first and seconds previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the motion is carried.
It's nice to see we've approved 7 deals in 6 separate counties. So Bronx, Suffolk, Albany, Montgomery, Kings, and Orange. So it's nice to see a little dispersion across the state. Our last item, number 9, is just information. Mike, do you want to...
Just the surtax collection for January was 12.8 million.
Give Moses a little background as to how, what the importance of that number is.
The mortgage insurance fund is financed by a surtax on the state mortgage recording tax, a surtax of 25 cents per hundred on the mortgage recording tax. And we use the surtax from the various counties to fund reserves against new commitments and new claims. We set aside reserves equal to 20% of the liability amount of every new commitment issued. And when a loan moves from performing to delinquent, we set aside reserves equal to 100% of the liability amount. And in a typical year, we use about 100 million of reserves for new claims and new commitments. And at a collection rate of 12 million a month, we'll receive in excess of 140 and remit the excess to the state. The calculation is done in March and then again in May to confirm the calculation, and we remit the excess to the state on June 18th. And the exhibit in the very back of the MIC book, we're at a level now where we're collecting surtax in excess of what we use. 2 years ago, we were collecting surtax of less than we needed to do new business. So this is a really important development.
Yeah, so we keep our eye on that every month and see how the trend line goes. So, okay, there's no other further business for the committee. Call for adjournment.
So, assuming a motion to adjourn, assuming the first and second previously entered, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
The motion is carried and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.